Jim, you've had a very interesting experience, very interesting career prior to coming to PA and Associates. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, Chris. In 1978, I graduated from college, and after about a month, I went right into the family business. The business was called Meyers Sons Incorporated, and at that time, we were wholesalers and distributors of ladies' shoes. Shortly thereafter, upon my arrival, within about 5 to 10 years, the domestic manufacturing closed down, and pretty much overnight we became importers and distributors of ladies' shoes. So the business got a little more interesting at that point.
So it's fair to say that transportation and shipping were obviously key elements of what you had to manage as the CEO.
Absolutely. The last 10 years or so, I was president of the company. And I can tell you firsthand that transportation and shipping was an integral part of our business.
How did you go about managing that part of your business?
Well, we had certainly a shipping department and a shipping manager and a warehouse manager. And each year, at the end of each year, our CFO would review our current agreement with our small parcel carrier.
And were there any other elements of the distribution, whether it be domestic or overseas, that you had to be mindful of beyond just the small package?
For sure. The international spend was getting pretty large. We were shipping on an average of 3 packages a week over to various factories in China, and we were receiving packages every day from factories in China. These packages that we were shipping and receiving contained, for the most part, samples, not case goods. But it was a very robust environment of shipping samples back and forth to China.
So we're talking about a 99-year-old company. Walk us through the last 3 years of the business and the challenges that you faced in a general way, but also as it related to the transportation and shipping spend.
Well, that's right. We actually have a lot to celebrate because we were in business for 99 years, and we were fortunate. My father especially, he had 31 years where he worked with me, and prior to that he had 25 years where he worked with his father. So it was a real good story. The last 3 years were challenging. We took a few big hits to our revenues in 2007. And under normal circumstances and normal economic times, I would say we certainly would have bounced back from those losses. We quickly made plans to recoup some of those revenues. However, when first quarter of 2008 came around, it was obvious to us that we just weren't going to hit our projected numbers when it came to the revenues, so we had to make other arrangements.
When you were transitioning out of D. Meyers at the end in 2009, what was it about PA and Associates that resonated with you or that you found appealing, given your experience?
Well, I had a specific list of items that I thought were important to me, and the main item on that list was having a product or a service that had a top-notch value proposition. In addition to that, I wanted to be associated with a reputable company, and I wanted a product or a service that I could leverage with my vast list of contacts, because I found myself in both social situations and networking situations where I was in a room full of people, and I knew a lot of those people and had relationships, and if I had a valuable product or service that I could sell them, I felt like I could be pretty successful.
And how would the platform at PA and Associates, how would that have been relevant to D. Meyers and Sons when you were there?
Well, when our CFO would sit down with our carrier to review the agreement and renegotiate the agreement, the only benchmark that he had was the agreement that he was holding, which was our existing agreement. He really had no idea, nor did we, what our competitors were, what their agreements looked like, or anyone else in a similar industry with a similar volume and similar package specs.
And so it's fair to say that you would have sought a more aggressive management of those areas, more insight perhaps, more control over that spend, not just with your agreements, but across the entire environment.
Yeah, because obviously the spend is what you see on paper, but in addition to the spend, there are management tools. There's reporting and transportation management systems and other tools like that really round out the entire transportation and shipping area.
So in your new role as a senior consultant, how has your message been received by some of your peers, the other CEOs and CFOs that you've interacted with for the last 31 years?
I think it's been very positive. We've had really good phone calls with a lot of the folks that I knew from my prior shoe world, and we've had great conversations, and they respect me, and they know, like, and trust me, and I feel like their response to our value proposition and our offer has been very, very positive.
So if there's one message that you want to communicate loud and clear to those CEOs, those CFOs about PA and Associates, what is that message?
That message would be that with 20 plus years of experience in seeing thousands of agreements and helping to craft world-class agreements, we're the go-to guys, and we can help you with your current agreements and your entire spend management platform in your shipping environment, both from a spend standpoint and management of the whole picture.
And I've been on meetings with you, Jim. I've been on calls with you, and what has been very clear to me is that whomever we interact with, and this has always been the case with PA and Associates, but especially in view of your experience, whenever we're meeting with a new client or a prospect, it goes well beyond just being able to discuss what we're going to save for them. It seems immediately apparent that there's all this other value and expertise that we can pour into them, especially for those who are in the apparel and footwear industry, and the knowledge that you can bring to bear to those projects.
Well, that's right, and the conversations we've had for the logistics personnel or the transportation personnel, they understand because that's their world. So they know that it's more than just the spend, the dollars and cents that you see on the paper.
Right, and not to suggest that a significant savings of 42% is irrelevant, but again, when you're pouring in resources, it goes beyond the savings. But as someone who's sat in the CEO position and who spends 6, 7, and sometimes 8 figures in shipping, a 42% reduction has to be meaningful.
It's tremendously significant. That's 42% reduction in what they're spending currently on their small parcel shipping. And that's an average, so it could be even more. It's big. It's definitely big.